What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's
Hello,
me,
hello.
Marie. Hey, hey. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe one day we'll have somebody make us like a intro song, and then you guys can be introduced to Eve and Marie on Millennials Adulting. But until then, I like the 30-second countdown. Gives me a chance to breathe before we dive deep, right? Because these conversations get deep. But hey, Marie, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I'm
It's Monday,
good.
right? It's
I Cinco de Mayo a little too hard yesterday, and I don't even Cinco de Mayo. I planned to binge watch the show, and then my girlfriend's like, "Just come out, please." Like, and I've been paying for it all day. So.
You can do that now, though. The minis are a little bit older, so they have a little bit of autonomy, right? Like, you can stay out a little bit later. They know how to make themselves a sandwich and not let any strangers in the house, right? So,
Oh yeah. No, that was lovely. Honestly, my daughter goes to school. Her school she goes to actually is by my ex-husband's house. So she actually is with him at least Monday through Thursday because it's 4 days a week. So I'm actually kind of like a weekend mom, kind of, sort of.
weekend mom. Actually, that's I'm jealous, right? No, I'm not jealous. I just it's a different struggle, and everybody thinks that they know somebody else's struggle because it's not what they're actually dealing with, and then drop them in the same situation, and it's like, damn, this my shit is not. How are you doing that over there? And let me give this back to you because this, it's
Okay.
like the picture of the cross. I hate using religious references because maybe everybody hasn't seen it, but it's like there's a cross, and then everybody has all these different crosses, or you go to the room and it's all these different crosses, but they're all different crosses, and then you could pick it, but maybe you pick a really little one that's really heavy, or the really, really big one isn't as heavy as I don't know. Everybody's burden is their own, I guess, is the ultimate
It
story.
is. I think every thread setup is different. Even this is the first year that we actually did do this. Our first year of like I guess co-parenting in this way because I've always been the primary custodial parent up until my ex-husband retired. And really, we did it like this because initially I was thinking about moving. And then my daughter, they did something at school she didn't like, and she was just over them. I didn't want to go to the school anymore. And so I was just like, well, we could see what this looks like. And so we're like, okay, let's try it. And then they had a 4-day school week anyway. So it's been something she's been thinking about ever since he bought his house in that area. Like, sometimes like, that 4-day a week, 4 days a week, that looks real good. And so we did it. But the school's also better too than the school she was attending in Dallas. So it's like a win-win kind of situation.
Yeah, well, there you go. I guess it works if you work on it and with it and at it. And co-parenting is a I think it's one of those bad words that people don't like to talk about, kind of like abstinence and having the sex conversation with your child and your minis. Um, you want to prepare them. You don't want them to be in the dark, and you don't necessarily want to show them how to do things either, right? Because then it's like, whoa, you exposed me to this. I have
Mm-hmm.
people I know who were exposed to their uncle's collection of such things that we won't necessarily be explicit about, but that exposure led to other things, and maybe when you're exposed to things matter, and how you're exposed to it. But at the end of the day, they're just gonna remember that it was you, right? And
No matter what, right? Like,
right, like
so
how.
that's ironic you say that because I think it goes back to even so, last week when we were having that conversation, I said, I've talked to my kids about sex, and there were some comments in there, and they were like, well, you haven't talked to them about abstinence or waiting till they get married. And I'm like, huh. Well, to be honest, considering all the sex I've had, I would not want to wait until I get married. Like knowing what I know, I would not want that kind of surprise. And I would not encourage my children to be in that kind of situation, though it sounds very pure and everything. Um, but it was like I like seeing that those comments, and then it was like, or even like, and then who's to say that my daughter wants to get married, or like, and she might not. I don't. I'm not grooming my daughters to just be wives. I'm like, there's so much more to life, writing, activism. My other daughter's like photography. Like, there's so many things that they can do and excel in. It's like, well, other than be a wife. So it's not my first and foremost thing, but I can see how some people, and also having been a wife, and my mother's a wife, and like all these wives I know. While I do know some beautiful marriages, I also know that a lot of people feel like it's a burden sometimes just being married. Look, though it's nice, economically, it's probably a beautiful thing if you're in the right situation. But then simultaneously, there's a lot of work that is typically bestowed upon the women, and it's not exclusive to just being black or white, or I have my white girlfriends that complain about their spouses not cleaning shit up and doing, like, she's like, I went a whole week just to see if he would do the fucking dishes, but he pays for things. He's like, I'm a provider. I'm not helping with
Man. I'm sorry.
you go to work too. Um,
No,
but
that's good. It's a well-rounded experience to see different sides of things, to have your own experience, because people like to paint a picture that they've never experienced. I have a lot of disdain for people who talk shit about how people parent when they're not parents. Because I get that you were parented, right? Like, you had a parent, you had parents, but how do you have such vitriol for people who are trying when you're not participating in said try, right? Like, if you're not going to climb Mount Everest, why are you talking shit about people climbing Mount Everest, right? Like, or maybe there's something there, right? Like, there's going to be the shit talkers, because that's how you know that you're really doing some shit, right? Like, rearing children is it's a whole fucking thing, right?
And every child is different too, you know what I mean? So every household's different, every child is different. Um, I don't know. I thought that was some interesting take. And then sometimes, you see those kind of things, and then they're from unmarried people too. Not just be kind of like, but you ain't made nobody. Well, oh, okay.
Yeah. That's my old lady face look. Because in real time, people say that old people don't have anything to offer, but then will go out of their way to seek out an elder's advice, whether it be a seasoned tax expert or a seasoned lawyer, right? Like, you want someone who's been doing something for a long time, but then there is a whole nasty side of that. Maybe you've been doing it too long and things have changed. You haven't kept up with the times. You've got a thought that needs to retire, or maybe you're just not pumping and going at the same uh, energy level that you used to 20 and 30 years ago. Either way, sometimes it's time for a change. And then sometimes it's time to stand strong on whatever it is and go out with a bang. And parenting being a whole thing where you could die, right? Like, we could die on the birthing table, or in the birthing tub, or in the car, or wherever the fuck it decides to come out, the baby, where we could die. That happens. It's not normal anymore, right? But just
It's not as normal, but then it's still common for Black women to experience it.
Right. So there is that. And then inside of this sacrifice, where we are choosing to have these death odds, right? Um, there's no help. Not really. I mean, I guess you could rely on the government, or you could say, I don't really fuck with him, but he pays the bills. Like what we were just talking about. Not saying that they said that, but just, this nigga really irritates the fuck out of me, but okay, whatever. I'm gonna just.
I mean, that's a real thing. Like, girl, like, I think the economy being what it is, like, even when my friends go through things and we joke now, I'm like, but girl, this economy, you don't want to pay them bills by yourself. So think about it. Think about it. Like, or even something happened recently where a friend of mine got kind of caught up. But I was like, why would she go looking for that? Like, does she want to pay bills? I'm like, he's the sole provider. I'm like, let me tell you something. You paying all the bills. I am not looking at your phone. I'm not going through your shit. Like you, honestly, I'm not doing that because that's just not who I am. But let's say that you pay all the bills. I don't work or I only work part-time. I'm not touching shit. Like, first of all, I don't even have any problems. Why would I create one? At no point am I going to look to see if you're doing what I think you might be doing or whatever it is. Like, I don't, in fact, I think that you're paying all these bills and I'm very appreciative. And like, let me order something off of Amazon. Like, I don't, I'm going to Target. Like, I don't have time for, like, I don't understand it. Like, I really was kind of like, well, why would you do that? Like,
people say that happens, and then I hear about it happening, but no, I don't get it either. I don't understand people who make problems out of nothing, but there are people who need drama, and we all know somebody like that. Like, their life is not good unless shit is just everywhere. And
yeah, there's people. It's like almost like a thing. Sometimes I'm like, do you have like a cloud over your ass, or you got some bad luck? Someone put some root on you. Like, what is happening? That is some. It's always something with you. And I really try to stay the fuck up. Like when I do grasp people like that. Like I'm not gonna lie, I try to like move around a little bit. Like at first, because first she was like, "Oh, that's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, what can I do to help?" And then after a while, you kind of like. Say, man, why does it seem like it's always some shit with you? Like, and it's like, but even too, I don't want your juju to rub off on me. I don't want there to always be something with me because I'm in cahoots or I'm in with you. And so, because even too, sometimes you block your blessing, just the people you around. You can't get, it's like, well, you aren't gonna be able to go any further. So it's like, yeah, I don't, yeah, I'm starting to see a pattern. I'm heavy on the pattern, so heavy on the pattern. Like,
misery loves company. Thank you, Juan, for saying that in the chat. And Marie, you're right too, because you don't want their bad luck prayers rubbing off on you. And in real time, some people are out there as absorbers, vampires, and they're just suck the life out of everything around them because that's what parasites and leeches do. And I find that, again, the loudest people about parenting that aren't parenting, maybe they had a situation that they're trying to heal from, and this is their outlet. But outside of context, it just is very strange. I can understand a person who says, I was hurt, I was harmed, and this is, let me tell y'all about the dangers of, yeah, that makes sense. But no, let me just bang on single parents, or let me just bang on people who
that's so weird. Like you don't have something else to do. Like
right.
I guess not being a parent, they have a lot of free time. They're like, well, in all my free time of not having to fucking parent,
right.
I decided to just complain about a bunch of single fucking parents, and as if they were single parents by themselves too. Like, well, they didn't.
No, I did this shit by myself.
Like,
okay. It's crazy because we laugh about shit like that, and it's sad because we have to laugh about it. This is one of those uncomfortable laughs. It's not that it's funny. It's just like, no, this is really where we are, and we have to slow talk some of the conversation because some of y'all get stuck on stupid for some stupid shit. It's not hard to interrupt the stupidity, but I do think that if you never pause, you will just perpetuate and hamster wheel yourself into, a pulpit pimp type of situation, or just kind of not having any authority over yourself, giving your control away. The Bible says that you're supposed to tithe, right? And then the church says that you're supposed to tithe, and then everybody says you're supposed to give your money away, and then they use their money, the money that was given to them, to do things. And then people go to church and they pray for things to happen, but the church is not giving them money to do things. The math ain't mathin', Marie. Like, if the church is using money to fix things, and then people say, people at the church, I need help, and they say, oh, we're gonna pray for you. Well, damn it, why are we not praying for the church too? Like, the math ain't mathin'. But it does present a power dynamic that I think people get afraid of talking about, because when you say that, oh yeah, that shit's got some power over me, or it has power, I've given it power. Well, if you don't want it to have power, what you gotta do? What do you do, Marie? What is there to do?
I think it's kind of, I think it goes back to that discipline or even mind over matter, kind of what we were talking about. And it's also, it's like, it's something that's just in you or it isn't. But it is something I think that can be developed. But it takes a lot of strength to not allow to have something to have power over you, or to not just go with the norm. I don't know. Like, it's one of those things, because it's no different than addiction, fighting an addiction, or even when we were talking about quitting smoking cigarettes, just, and how you're like, would you say your husband like did cold turkey? Like
Cold turkey, that shit. And I was like, whoa, you smoke more than me. Like, how? That shit
how
was
did
so
you think
crazy.
it like that? Like, huh. But I think it's all about, like you said, it's all about having the power to do something, power to walk away from something, the strength, the courage. And then this is like using power in like the positive verbiage, because too at the same time you could have power and just fuck it all off. And I think it also depends on who has the power too, right? I think that there's something to be said about people that, like, even like, so one, Trump is, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'll say this. His desire to be president and not really even be in that realm was very suspicious. Like, I think anyone that desires that kind of power, like even the idea, I think I used to have people like, you want to go, should go into politics. Why? So I can get in there and then show you guys how government doesn't work. Like, why would I want to do that to myself and to my constituents? Or, it's like, there's no, and for me, everything I know now, it's like, there's not really, I feel like, me, my conspiracy theories, I'm like, I feel like there's a shadow government. So I'm not going to really make the change I want to make. But it's like, so why would I want that? Why would I want the responsibility? Like, I think you almost should be kind of afraid of like, yeah, do I, because I don't even know if I could trust myself. There's people, there's so many people that are in powerful roles that abuse it. Just kind of even like when, we talk about like being a revolutionary versus someone that maybe like, for example, there are people that actually became a police officer because maybe they thought they were going to impact change. People that went into politics and thought they were going to impact change, and did not. I think you mentioned that Cop City we talked about like not too long ago, but that was what, in Atlanta. And so, in Atlanta, most of their government is like, their local government, local legislation are Black. So a bunch of niggas about to get all you niggas killed. So it's like, but I'm assuming when they were put in position, someone thought like, this person looks like me. They maybe came from my background. We have these similarities going on. And then this person got in that fucking position.
Fuck y'all.
And then just started doing all the same things that, we would look at a white supremacist for doing. Like, well, that's, white supremacy. Or this, because even racism is systemic, right? But
Right.
It's like, so you're creating this type of legislation that, when it profiles people of specific ethnicities. And then the irony is even too with like these cop cities, or even too, there's more legislation that was put in, for I guess right now they're pushing with like giving the police more power, more militarization. However, they're like pushing for all these funds for this kind of shit, but actually crime is down. Violent crime is really down in a lot of the major cities. So it's like, why would y'all need more cops then? Like, or why y'all need all this extra money for additional training if nobody like
the math ain't nothing.
Y'all see the problem here? Like, why would I do that? Why would I? And again, I'm not we don't need police, but I'm damn sure kind of like we don't need all this additional funding going towards this for crime prevention when we're already like, whatever you're doing is fucking working. Let's keep doing that. Whatever we have going on, we don't need billions of dollars though to fix it or make it better. Let's make it better. Let's have all our police trained by the IDF.
It's like it sounds like they need to be hungry. in order for them to do their job. If you're saying that violent crime is down, or conspiracy theory time, there's not as much violent crime as they lead us to believe. And when they're not doctoring the fucking numbers with inflammatory language, maybe calling things very heinous when they're not, because of who is involved versus what the actual crime was.
Absolutely.
Maybe just accurately reporting what the fuck is going on might keep the budget, normal. We don't necessarily need all of these funds, like you said, or maybe the funds go somewhere that makes sense, like
Like mental health resources.
yeah, right, mental health resources, maybe schools. It's a lot of
Yeah, maybe they could actually, maybe underperforming schools could actually get money to pay teachers and
yeah.
provide a higher quality education, as opposed to saying, well, if you do really well, we're going to give you, because I'm not, again, going back to, I'm not a fan of my child being trained on how to take a test. It's an apt, tests are supposed to be apt based off your aptitude, what I fucking learned. So what did you learn? What have you learned? That's what we're testing you on shit you already know. If at a certain point, then you're training a child to pass the test because we need you to pass the test because we're gonna get this money. That's like,
Yeah, no, that is standardized testing as a bitch. No Child Left Behind left a lot of children behind in very real
they
time.
left the money behind.
No, they did. They picked that shit up, pocketed it, and acted like what money?
I mean, it's like so many, like what money, like the what chain, like chain.
No, this is.
But I guess it's like
real.
having power.
It is, because in real time, the people who are in control of our minis education and learning have a lot of power, and they could do different things, but they don't. They choose to stick to an easy metric for resources and zero. They don't do critical thinking, not really, in public schools. You have to go to like a special school to learn how and why people think versus assembly line training. And then inside of that, teachers are always an afterthought. They want to give money to the defenses, but crime is down, like you said. So then maybe they want to give money to I don't know. They start doing like PETA shit. Everybody loves the animals, the strays, dogs, and cats of America. I think maybe medical might get some talk, but not really, because people feel some kind of way about doctors. They feel like they get paid too much, but I don't know. I feel like healthcare, if doctors got paid enough, then maybe they would not be so worried about people coming back. But maybe if you got to create a customer for life, then you would be very much concerned about making sure that there's something for them to come back for. I don't know. That's my conspiracy thought of the evening, but I might have some more for you. So let me dial that back and just say teachers are always an afterthought. Defense is first, because you got to school to prison pipeline them, and then teachers maybe.
In essence, what it sounds like to me is like they want quality, but they're not willing to pay for it. Well, how much are you willing to pay for that? How much are you willing to pay for it? Like, because it's almost like, I almost feel like they treat teachers like they're daycare providers. So it's like, you're providing, yeah, you're supposed to teach them some things, but really, I just need you to watch my kids. Because I've even seen this thing about when one of the schools are moving to a 4-day work week. They're like, it only benefits the teachers, and Bob, like, so the teachers can't get a fucking benefit?
No benefit.
It's like everyone wants something for nothing. They want the most and give the very least, right? So it's like, I want this high quality education. Oh, I don't really want to pay for that shit. They're like, but where's money?
That's true. But a free and appropriate public education, that's a fate. That's a thing that's written into law. People are supposed to get education at zero cost. But what type of learning are they getting? This is a very nuancy and deep conversation. I don't know if the audience is going to keep up because they either went to public school and shit's going, or they went to a private school and they're above this. But in real time, we are dealing with people who I think that if we paused and gave some care to understanding how they learn things, just bare minimum, this nigga was on some assembly line shit and, they're being matched up with people who are going to take advantage of that, then maybe the power dynamic shift. A lot of people are giving their authority to people on accident. They didn't know that they were going to be a guppy, They thought that we was all, buddy buddy, but in real time you've got people who are having deep thoughts and critical thinkers and studying psychology and brains and how people move up against just regular Joe who thinks that everybody is who they say they are, and now the power dynamics are off, and this person is, I don't know, giving over the family heirlooms to anything. I don't know. I'm just so confused. But some of these power dynamics, they shift, and then I just don't know why, because you put things down on paper and it looks like this, but then you talk to them and it's like this. The math doesn't math. If people cared about this child's education, then maybe there would be a push for the politicians to do something about education, right? But there's a push for the police to get more money. Not a push for teachers to get more money, but for police to get more money. That's already the shift is already fucked up right there. Because if you don't care about how they're learning, then when they become an adult, did it matter? This is just a waste of time, right? Because we're just making a little worker for my.
There's so many things that theory kind of goes hand in hand. It's almost like being pro-life, but not giving a fuck about that life after it's
born, right? Like, were you pro-life, or did it just sound good at the time, right?
But I think it's like I'm pro-capitalism and I need people to work, need people to do these jobs and these things. And and I need you to have kids so they can work for me. And if you guys this birth rate is down because no one wants to produce, that kind of throws off my need for chattel.
Yeah. So produce it by any means necessary. Enter poor people who have children, single parents who, people say that you shouldn't have single parents. All children should have two parents, right? But that's not reality. So there's adults out here parenting their children by themselves. They're not fortunate like you, Marie, to co-parent. They don't have that option. But they're not supposed to have any say in how things happen. But people who don't have children, they get say because they don't have children.
That's just so weird. And I think there's value going back to context-wise, maybe how something made you feel as a child or something you've seen. But other than that, I think that it's one of those things, unless you have that experience or unless it's you, just like, even if you like, I wish my kid would do something. And then I have to ask, like, what if your child was a murderer? Or what if you found out your child was a pedophile? Like,
yeah, let's jump right there. Yeah.
You're what, like, and I honestly, I don't know what the fuck I would do. Like, there's a party is like, but I mean, it's still my child. So I'm like, I don't know if this is a stick beside him kind of situation right now. Like what happened, or what? All that unconditional love. Like, I might got some conditions.
You got some conditions. Like. No, that's real though. Fuck y'all who think that we're not being honest, because I think that what honestly happens is people stand by some fuckery, and you don't have to in a way that makes you a fucked up person. As much as if somebody needs help, you should get them the help that they need. You shouldn't do anything more than that. All that extra shit that people try to do, no, I'm gonna get you out the country. I'm gonna help you flee. I'm gonna make it go away. That's not help. That's hiding, right? So help and hiding, they both start with H, but they don't mean the same thing. So that's one thing.
And then that's the thing. I don't know. I might help you hide a body. I don't know. Like, I don't know until I'm in that situation, but I'm going to probably try to get you out of the parking ticket. Now, you felt like you cheating in school, not helping you with that one, and you got caught.
Levels though. We as parents, that's something you learn as a parent. And really, y'all learned it as a child, but your parent either gave you grace or didn't give you grace. There's levels of gray there. How you experience discipline, and then what you say you're gonna do, and then what people do in real time. I've seen some hard asses. I'm not gonna, and then baby be wrapped around a fucking pinky, and it's like, but I thought you wasn't never gonna A B C X Y Z. But the baby, the baby. Okay, let's talk about this baby, right? Because a baby will change you. But in real time, people who've not been changed got a lot to say about people who've experienced the change, and just looking at them like, you ever had that? You give your friend that look, your friend who doesn't have kids yet, that'd be like, when I'm a parent, and then you'd be like, yeah, all right. When you're a parent, all right.
Hell, I done had to give myself that look because I done thought that shit growing up. When I'm gonna do it like this, and there's certain things where I have learned, like, well, it's like, while I might have thought that it should be this way, not necessarily. And I say that to say, speaking to, I think we talked about the cooking thing. Like, I'll be honest and say I do slightly regret making everyone their own meal. I feel like it makes me fucking tired. Like, imagine I worked all day, then I have to cook these different meals, and then to be honest, I might even want what y'all finna eat. So now either I got to make a third meal, but like, that whole, but I don't know if my thought process would be, well, then you're not hungry. But, or maybe it should have been, well, go make yourself a sandwich then. Like they do with like at school, like if you don't eat the, like, well, we have peanut butter and jelly for the something simple. But I do regret where it's like giving them that sense of entitlement. Well, just go make something, it's like where I realized for me, like, that actually isn't creating balance for myself. And it's actually, now I'm wore out. I'm tired. I kind of got an attitude. I might fuss at y'all too, because I done did all, because I'm tired, but it's like, you could have just said no too, or, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, I get why maybe there was a little more structure. Like someone was like, so this is what we cooked, or we're fucking broke, right? We're broke. And this is what, this is what we have to eat. This is what's available. Like, this is what we got. Which, now I realize if there was like ever like an apocalypse or the world was coming to an end, there's a good chance I'm gonna starve and die, and so will my daughters, because they're just too fucking picky.
I like that we're able to offer our children, and I say our, me and like ours. I'm glad that you're able to do that with your children too. But I like that, because in real time, Black kids are told that they don't have these chances to be bougie or to have a better option without people making them feel some kind of way. You have to have lived in a specific neighborhood in a certain price bracket to have certain experiences. My children have been eating sushi since they could eat sushi, and not like they're eating raw fish because they're vegan, but they've experienced.
They have the access, they have the exposure to it. Right. I kind of like even the comment about, even like when we're looking at the chat and the YouTube, about the passport things. Make sure your kids have passports. I'm heavy on that. Mm-hmm. I think my oldest got hers at like 13. She did a trip to Costa Rica for school, And then my youngest, we got at the same time. So the other one was 11, but I made sure but again, exposure, going places, seeing things. Now she complained the whole damn trip about how hot it was and she didn't realize she was going to be doing that much hiking. But she was like, and can I make her a nail appointment? Like, you don't come on back home. Like, this is a little too expensive. You'd be complaining as much. But
that's an experience that she's going to have. You know, she's going to be 22 saying that she went to Costa Rica at 13. There are people, I didn't know this. I feel so sheltered when I went to college. I feel like my childhood, I was very sheltered. Not that I wasn't exposed to things, but just, whoa, y'all have never been to the beach? Like, what do you mean? The beach is 30 minutes away. You've never been to the beach? Like, I've had that conversation with 100 students, of 100 of my own students over the course of 10 years. They've never been to the beach because they don't actually have like a car. So they would have to like Uber, or because public transportation doesn't necessarily get you there straight away. It's more like you got to do this, and you got to like do this, like do this. It's a bunch of extra shit. Anyway, 30 minutes away though. They never been to the beach. As soon as I came down here, I went to the beach. That was like one of the first things I did was seek out
the beach.
Water. Like, how do you live so close and not want to go look at the ocean? But that's some people's experience.
Some people only have a 3-block radius of where they're from.
Right, and that shit is depressing to me. So our children, our children, we have experiences are necessary. You know, not like you gonna be balling out of control first class flights and shit like that. But no, we gonna road trip it. You know, yeah, passports eventually at some point. But I like that your 13, now 16-year-old can, you know, say that she's been out the country. Because some people ain't even been to the beach, and it's not even an hour away. Like, I'm stuck on that. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No, it's not. No, exactly. No.
No, that's power though, right? So it's not off, y'all. I just man, I hadn't really thought about it again until right now. It's so many children that don't get the chance to have experiences, and then in real time, people will tell me and you that we're doing too much as parents because we want to give them more.
The irony is that those same people may not. So let's say, for example, those same people that will say that will have on some of the most expensive clothes. And not that I have anything against that. I'm not telling you how you should spend your money. But, you know, a trip out it's kind of like taking the experience. You're enriched with the experience, right? I feel like oftentimes we like to measure wealth on just financially, or we're using the measurement tool of just looking at actual monetization of things. However, experiences are enriching. I want to say that, like, even like, just taking your kids places, taking them out the country, just taking them to do things, giving them access, giving them exposure to other cultures. I think it's just really beneficial.
When was your first out the country trip?
My first, my mother's retired Navy. So I was out the country probably. I lived in Guam.
Okay.
Even I went to elementary school in Hawaii too, which that was like a different experience because they really do like to have their culture embedded in their education. So like I've like toured the island. My teacher actually would make sushi in the classroom sometimes. So it also made me kind of, then I go back to my little,
he was dancing.
Then I go back to my daddy house, and ain't nobody really go. So everyone there is like, there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of the people where I grew up at, everyone like I went to the high school. I have a stepsister that's 16 years older than me. I went to the same high school and elementary school she went to. Everyone knows So the funny part, I was always that one kid where didn't nobody know my family. They're like, so who's your daddy? I'm like, oh, my dad's actually was raised in upstate New York. So I'm like, yeah, no, you don't know my dad. But like I said, they knew my step family, like they knew them. But it was like one of those things where
Right.
everyone knew everyone. Like I had the same elementary school teacher as my, and like yeah, I'm like, no, you don't know my mom. No, my mom lives in Oregon. They're like,
You you know about Iroquois Elementary?
yes.
Did you go to Iroquois
I
Elementary?
feel like I went to was it Ali Amanu? It was so long. Like it was so long ago. Whatever school it was like right near the military base or like Navy housing. So it was like I feel like they had an elementary school. It was like outdoors. I forgot the name of it. But it was like they all the schools like the classes like you go from like it was kind of like these cement buildings, and they were like your everything was like outdoor, and you'd walk along the breezeway or whatever.
Sound like some internment camp type shit. But,
No, I mean I guess because too. So islands have typhoons.
all right, right. So we got
So
some
you
water.
want to build the buildings out of cement in the event that there's a typhoon or something like that, because it's going to, help with the infrastructure or prevent it from like we lived in Guam, we had a typhoon and we had to put our beds up against the windows, like our mattresses. And like you went out the next day, like you might have broken windows because of the coconuts flying, just random stuff.
Okay. You learn something every day, every stinking day. Thank you for that. And I had no idea. I mean, I guess I could have thought about it, with my teacher brain, but I swear I turned my teacher brain off at like 3 o'clock, and my parent brain never turns off. So in real time, my children calling me, teacher during the day and then mom at night. I get real confused, you guys. So thanks, Marie, for keeping us geographically accurate, um, and understanding why such measures would be necessary. Because that concrete building shit, that's some prison shit, And then
That just sounds crazy. I'm like, well, what are they gonna do if there's a storm? Like,
right now, I must be. I have PTSD. Like you can't build
like, why would they do that? I'm like, well, I don't know. No.
no. Ala Moana.
Yeah, it's near Pearl Harbor. That's where the base is. I know what you're talking about because I did look at the school and it's not near. It's in a different city.
It's that's so funny to me because y'all both like real light, and y'all got like that hair, and then people start making all sorts of assumptions about people's ethnicity and who they are and where they're from. And to me, I think it's about self-identifying right now, especially right now. So but then the math has to math. Like you can't Rachel Dolezal it, right? I love you, right? But you black, and you can't help that your black express itself like that. It's not on you.
That's so funny.
But no, man, I think that it's about self-identity. Power is how you choose to identify. But
To
again,
some degree, like you say, because I know you'll be like, well, but you weren't born a woman though.
yeah,
So
not right. The math has
so
like
add context because you don't
context.
like I'm like you don't always feel that way. So let's roll that back just a little bit because that's not true.
Matters. No, Marie, that's the thing though. Self-identifying matters because if you were born a man and you identify as a woman, there's a word for that already. So you can't just be out here lying either. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm a woman now." What you mean now? If you was a woman, you was always a woman. So now people say, "Oh, I've always been a woman. I just had a dick." What? The math ain't mathin'. So yes, I won't keep saying that context matters because I really hope that people know that when I'm saying that you can say whatever the fuck you want, just know that I really mean like just be honest about it, right? Like the whole truth and nothing but the truth, or just be quiet. You want to you want to dress in a dress and let people think and assume. That's a little dangerous, but you could do that too. And I wouldn't be mad at you because people shouldn't assume. They should have a whole conversation and fully understand what they're getting into. So that's my disclaimer about how I feel about your truth, my truth, his truth, her truth, all the truths. There's one truth. I don't know if we all gonna get it, but it's just
I don't know, when you talk about that, made me think of Drake and everything going on. Like, we're like, how you choose to identify.
right.
Because
Well,
it's
yeah,
very
let's talk
interesting
about that.
watching people on the internet calling him a white boy now. It's kind of like,
But he's not white, right?
I mean, his mother's Ashkenazi Jew. So she's a European Jew.
Okay, so she's European, so she's white. What's his dad?
So his dad is black. I think his dad's African American.
I like to come at things like I don't know anything because sometimes we're not having the same conversation. People will say that he's white because his mom without taking into
Yeah, well, apparently, in the Jewish religion, you're Jewish if the person gives birth to you is a Jewish woman. But I would think too, if you married a non-Jew, you would just convert. Wouldn't that make her Jewish too? Like, so I mean, like, there's so many like ethno race. Like, I mean, how are we doing this?
Right. It's self-identifying matters, and then you have to stand on it. Look, you can't just be out here reinventing yourself every 10 years unless that's your shtick. Like, look, every 10 years, boom, I got something new, and then everybody knows, like, yeah, that restaurant on the corner, same owners, but them niggas is coming out with something else. And I know y'all have that in your city. You have like the China buffet. It's a different name, but it's still a China buffet. You're like, I don't know if they done changed hands or not, but same type of food at the same location, and you go in there, the same looking people. But I don't know. It's been years since I've been to like a one of those types of establishments. As much as I still see the name of the business changes, but the product hasn't changed. I've seen nail salons, name of the business changes, product hasn't changed. The people there hasn't changed. So, if you go out there saying that, yeah, I'm gonna come out with something different and it's still gonna be me, but it's gonna be me or different me, I don't know. Honesty, that's honest.
I don't know. I've always identified as black, but the catch too is I could never be white. Like, that's one thing, and I think that goes back to what I was mentioning when I was talking to you earlier about visiting my mom. My mother's a white woman, so she had pictures of her ancestors up around the house. And it's just like, and I'm like, sheesh, this is so white, And then I had to acknowledge, like, well, why would she have, outside of a picture of you or your sister, why would she anyone black there? Too, so there's that too. Like, well, I'm like, okay, so that's a thing. I just, I'm glad I'm an adult, because this imagery is just very, but I mean, it's her family, it's my family, I guess, it's just like, they're just so white. I can be mixed. I don't identify as mixed, but I can be mixed or be biracial or black, but I can never be white. So I'll never have the experience of a white woman may have. I may have certain privileges I might have due to my complexion. And then some of those things aren't necessarily privileges either, depending on how the setup is. But I can never identify with a white one. I will not know what it's like to have blonde hair, blue eyes, or green eyes, or whatever, and walk through this world, and also just not have to worry about race either. Because I think even something was said, well, you focus on race, so like, well, how could I not?
No, but in real time, Stacey Dash is darker than you, and she's a white woman. I think people can identify however they want, but will their experience match? That's why I'm saying the math has to math. You can't just be calling yourself fucking butterfly if you can't.
So maybe her experience may be a little white. She has a little money. We like to associate certain wealth privileges with whiteness just because they typically, synonymous, go hand in hand. But so does white poverty too. So there's that.
That goes back into the Drake conversation. So Emmanuel said it in the chat. How he's talked about certain things. It's like, I don't know if a black person would be talking like this, or the blackface thing. But y'all, there are coons out here. You can't act like there aren't people who go above and beyond to be the token, right? So the token is not white. They're the token. That, there's a distinction that it matters. But then, in your own family, if your DNA says that, then I guess you can identify as that. I think that it's probably cooler to identify as black. Like, it's you get the what's the word? It begins with an E. Ethnic. You get that ethnic vibe about you because you're not white, but you're not black, but you are black. If you say you're black, but you can't ever be white, it's kind of fucked up, Marie. But
It's ironic though, white folks always think that I'm full black though. Even one time someone like white explained something to me in like this group and everything, and I'm just like, well, just so you know, my mother is white. But the funny part is my mother isn't one of those white women that listen to, I guess, white music. But I actually do listen to white music. But they just like, where did you learn to like that song? I'm like, because I have eclectic taste. But I'm like, how'd you find that? I found it. However, that being said, I think that it's black culture, right? That's really what it boils down to. Even when some women are, I think one time I was watching some podcast, this one expected to just have a better experience because she had to leave her family and do all these things to be with black men, and she felt they should have treated her different. And I'm like, why would they treat you any different than they treat black women?
No, like,
do you think that you're an exception? That was really like, I kind of feel like, I'm like, what are you saying? Like, bitch.
Yeah.
What are you saying? And because it's like, well, they make a single mom. Like, you still chose. So it sounds like to me, you like black culture. You don't really like black men. So you're choosing these shitty ass men, which I guess to some degree, not only did you step out of your race, but then you stepped out of your race and chose a shitbag. Like, that's crazy. Like, you're fucking stupid. Let's start there. But she really felt that she should have had a better experience, because she's giving up her family to be with this black man. And it's like, why would he want to make her a single mother or whatever? Like, bitch.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not a black man's story as much as single parenting could be an epigenetic story for black people based off of all the raping that happened on some of these plantations, right? And,
absolutely.
And the baby daddy, being the slave owner. If people want to talk about the single parent epidemic, I guess we'd have to go back a couple hundred years, because I think that black people have always just been like, all right, you family, we family, we're going to figure it out. And then other people say that you come from this family and you come from this family, so let's separate the families. Or is that not, is it different for where you've come from in your side of things?
Honestly, I find that culturally that it seems to be a thing where single mothers are really dragged. It seems like it's within the black culture.
The single.
So I only see that. Then I don't see that with like, I know plenty of white men that married women that already had kids or from previous relationships, wasn't married, was married. Like, it's not even something where it's like, oh, laughed upon, or like, why would like her value went down or anything. There's no one, doing the value system there. I find that it's extremely fucking critical. And then, like you said, like the first like real deadbeat dad was probably a white man. Even when I go down, I did my own genetic history, and like there was a certain point where it was like, even on my black side, it got white because of the slave owner. It was like, oh, so that's where, okay, huh. But I think we don't talk about that enough. But I think too, that goes back to just being kind of, to some degree, there's things that are kind of put out to be divisive or even provoke us, like those conversations, even, I almost, a part of me wonders if like, and I hate to sound like this, but like agitator or agent like behavior.
Hey, COINTELPRO-esque but let's not be a conspiracy theorist.
I don't want to
Let's
go that deep, but there's something to that though, right? It keeps us divided. There's a lot of like frustration and contempt with one another. And in these conversations, sometimes and the thing is, people are allowed to share their experience, right? Male or female, you're allowed to have an experience, express how that made you feel, what occurred in said experience. But then simultaneously, a lot of people are looking for, they're looking to gravitate to someone that is similar to in mind. You know what I mean? Someone that's had their same shitty experience. That's how, you see like a Tommy Sotomayor or whatever. Like there are men that are like, oh yes, he's speaking my language. And then there's like this whole group, and then they're all, now we have there's a chain. I think once upon a time I used to call me and my girlfriend's called bitter brigade. And and the thing was, like, a lot of the stuff we were saying was true, but the problem is that, like, yes, you can express yourself, but when it starts to go down the road, like there's some things that you allow people to feel comfort or they can relate, right? But it's like the fact that all of you guys are basically just in this fucking group when we're all just piling on shit upon shit. So it's, even though in our mind we're feeling like, oh, there's a certain level of sisterhood, we're really just like trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding, like all these negative experiences. Now you're all, oh yes, because he did this to me, and this happened to me, and that happened to me, and me too. So it's like that's the same story as me. Then now y'all friends. Then you just basically regurgitating each other's shit. Then you even get mad for each other. What happened? He did what? Fucking hate, man. It's like it didn't even happen to you, but it felt like it happened to me. It felt like that.
No, that's real. I don't think the sisterhood is dysfunctional. I just think that there's some dysfunctional bitches who like to they like to stew in it. And then when you got some dysfunction, well, now they're really feeling good because the shit that's fucked up in their life, now they're not the only one going through.
They're a misery loves company. I'm not the only one getting shitted on by these niggas.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. Let's make some memes about it. And not that I don't have fun with that kind of content or anything like that, but like I still do value. I don't know, like at this point in my life, like I do understand the value of a good companion or the right companion or a complimentary companion. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I refer to that man, of course, for me, and I don't know what other people are doing. I still value that. Then at the same time, there is like this thing of no one really is functioning on the honor system anymore. Let's just be honest to some degree, like kind of going back to where we were even talking about like the naiveness or thinking people are going to do things right. There's so many people that are operating in a space of scarcity for whatever reason. Then you got social media kind of adds to it too, where it's like it does get hard. It does get hard. It does sometimes feel like it's further out of one's grasp than it may actually be, and still could actually be, because some of y'all, there's not a person for you. And then some of y'all, there is, you just got to hang in there, but it's like people, kind of taking it back to the social media thing, is that it's like people kind of get on these tangents and they grow these followings. And then you have like these groups of regurgitating whatever this negative shit is. I think even, the bear thing started off as a fucking joke. And to be honest with you, I've actually asked men, who would you like, would you want your daughter, if she was in the forest, would you want her with a man or a bear? And even the men were kind of like, bear, because that's their daughter, you know what I'm saying? But then when it was like, the woman, you're a fucking idiot, the bear is going to kill you and blah, 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 blah. Women are so stupid. You're like, well, damn, if you feel like that, whoa. First of all, this is a hypothetical. But then I seen one where then the man was like, would you want to be with a bear or a single mom? And then he just went into this tangent about single mothers. And he had like these slew of things he felt like were identifiers that were, I guess, that most things. Some of them, like, I don't know, I've never done that. I don't know, and I like that. That's what they think is single. But it was like really just mean spirited. You know what I mean? And it was like mean spirited. It was just an attempt to attack a woman. Like, first of all, she's already a single mom. Like, she probably didn't choose that for herself. Like, and you just like, but I'm going to kick your ass for your life choice that you made, even though it doesn't impact me at all. But he's like, he took it upon himself to just go in on single mothers, all because of like a hypothetical situation that kind of went viral.
That happens all the time. Single moms are are easy to bang on.
Easy targets, I guess.
I mean all of the puns inside of it. No, really. And in my own comment section on my other channel, people are, you deserve everything that you're getting, Eve, because you were over there banging on single moms. And no, I bang on people who do dumb shit. Period. Across the board. I mean, it's equal opportunity, myself included. I don't keep myself away from criticism as much as I'm just flabbergasted that people would hold me in such regard. Like, I didn't know y'all felt like that about me. That you don't feel the same way about someone else. But no, in real time, accountability matters. So I'm cool with addressing the things that I've done. Now, are you cool addressing the things that you've done? Because most of the people who are in my comments, with this butthurt opinion about, how I feel about single moms, thinking that I've blanket statemented anybody, because I've not. I personally think that everybody gets their own chance to fuck up. And I can't blanket statement you because you might not fuck up and I might have needed you. But no, you do get a chance to fuck up, and then it's up to me to give you another chance to fuck up, because that's what people do. They ignore red flags, they ignore signs, and then people keep fucking up. That's why you leave your race and you go pick the bottom of the barrel of another race. Like,
then you wonder why too. Then you're like, I don't know why my mother's so racist. She just doesn't like the only black person or whatever ethnicity they've been exposed to is the piece of shit you brought home. Like, well,
might be. You might have some digging to do on your own, right? But nah, people, they like to pass the buck on the ownership of their lives, and I'm not like that. So I very much will continue to bang on whoever the fuck I see fit, because y'all don't think that I mean what I say, and I think that if people want to do better, they will. In general, like we've talked about this, if you want me, you'll show me. And if you don't, then I guess you don't want me. I can't accept anything less than that. Do the things you say and mean it with your actions. From there, if you want to do better, you will do better. People who don't want what they have, go out and get it. They might sacrifice for it, or they might steal it. But I can't say that they didn't want it, because they went out there and got it. It's these other people who wait for shit to happen. Y'all are the ones that I'm looking at y'all a little funny style, because you're not doing anything. It's just waiting for magic. That's fantastic. But I guess fantasy has some power. Maybe we'll talk about fantasy one day, Marie. You have any closing thoughts? Any good nights you want to wish before we wrap this up tonight?
This conversation. I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, it's like, be cognizant of your own power, your own influence, how you influence others, the people around you, whether it be your children, your neighbor. I think we touched on, like, we didn't really dive as deep into like the power conversation, but I think there is just enough power and accountability, or knowing it's you. I think it even took me back to like something recently where I was like, I told a friend, I was like, well, I was going to therapy because I thought, I had some emotional availability issues, obviously too, because if I'm picking men that are emotionally unavailable, then like that's also that means I'm emotionally devoid. And then the irony though is that some of the men were trash. And so it wasn't me in the situation. I was just like, damn, like at this point, I was like, well, I came here to fix myself, but apparently, no, still not me yet. I'm like, but I was like, I think I was telling him, I was like, well, I was going to therapy because I figured if I could fix me, then, I wouldn't be the problem. But sometimes too, also, everyone doesn't deserve the best version of you either. And some people just deserve what they get. But I did find it funny that, I was like, well, I was doing this thinking that it was me. And then I was like, oh, no, it's actually y'all. Huh. Well, I'm going to keep going and I'll keep trying to fix myself, whichever way is possible, in all the ways. I think finding there is power in even finding fault in a situation that maybe you were the victim in. It's also sometimes how you pull yourself out of victimhood, and then you don't repeat the cycle, or you don't repeat that same experience because you're able to take something from there and take some ownership to able to really to empower yourself, I think. And there's value there.
I agree. And love our conversations and where they go, because I don't look, y'all, sometimes we talk about where we're going to go, and then damn if we don't actually get there. And I don't think that that's because we're as scatterbrained as some people might want you to believe. Single moms are scatterbrained as much as no, the conversation needed to go where it went, because in real time, power is owning shit. You can't just accept when things go good and then say, you know, I'm the shit. You would have to go down with your ship if your ship is going down, or you're a coward. And I mean, that's cool too, but context matters. You know, you can't have been the captain of the shit and then that shit is over there and then you over here. It's like, what are we doing? You know, I like that we're in an age of information, and this year specifically exposure. And I like that people are having to stand on their square, because that's power. You know, power is doing the things that you say you're going to do, and who gives a fuck how people feel about it? You know, everybody's not going to be a leader. Most niggas is going to be followers. And I don't just mean niggas. I really actually mean most everybody is going to be a follower. You know, it just depends on.
I mean, we're witnessing that globally all the time. I mean, we see that all the time. All the time. We're like, you guys are all fucked up.
Yeah.
There's so many of you. No.
So many.
So many of you. You believe the lies.
No, that's how they get you. That's how these personalities get you, because you have a thought that makes sense, and then you look around you and you're like, whoa, most people are not thinking like this. Let me try to buffer myself with other people who have these thoughts. But don't isolate yourself, because that's not power. That's it's a trap, you know. So maybe we'll talk about, oh man, I always have so many things that I want to talk about next time because we didn't talk about this time, but we'll figure it out. Y'all join us again next Monday at 8:30 on Millennials Adulting.